I have a goal to ensure that every single monotype hardcore Nuzlocke in every mainline Pokemon game is completed on YouTube. But how do we accomplish that? Through this spreadsheet. Every game has been accounted for. Heck, some are finished already. But some are criminally underrepresented. I, Chaotic Meatball, am here to fix that. Starting from the top left and working all the way to the bottom right, every column is key to making sure Pokemon Challenge content creators evolve from vanilla monotype Nuzlockes. First on the list, red and blue with dragon types. So there's only one dragon type, and that's Dratini. You can't get this in a copy of red and blue until Celadon City following the third badge. So sure, this isn't technically doable in a vanilla copy, but I want to see if it's doable if we make Dratini a starter Pokemon. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as we just passed 200,000 and I am on the drive to 300,000 hopefully by the end of the year. And right after this video's done premiering, I'm going to be streaming my shiny franchise Nuzlocke straight after, so it'll be pinned in the premiere chat and will redirect you to the stream once the premiere is over. Lastly, I'm proud to announce that I am now a GamerSupps affiliate. I've been on a keto diet since the beginning of 2022 and have lost over 100 pounds because of it. But I've got to give a lot of thanks to GamerSupps for basically being the thing that helped me cut out sugary sodas and energy drinks from my diet. Those empty calories are terrible for attempting weight loss, and I'm not really a big fan of diet sodas. But with GamerSupps, I can have both an energy drink or just a flavor drink with the non-caffeinated varieties, with great flavors such as Guacamole, Gamerfart 9000, Raw Meat, and Titty Milk. Yes, Titty Milk, it actually tastes very good. I'm not kidding, these may be the best post flavor names ever, but they taste great. GGF is a strawberry lime, sort of like a Baja Blast, and Titty Milk is a creamy blue raspberry flavor that I have been in love with since I got my tub. But you can get some by using my affiliate link in the description and using code CHAOTICMEAT in all capitals at checkout to get 10% off, plus it helps support me directly. But with that all being said, let's begin. So, first up, the Dragon type. I'll be using the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to make sure my starter is Dratini here, although you can technically use a Game Shark to do what I'm doing if you desire to do so on actual hardware. I changed my starter into Dratini, replacing Charmander so that our rival has Squirtle, and with this change, can we clear a hardcore Nuzlocke with a single Dratini line and therefore Dragon types? Well, honestly, I'm kind of worried about the EXP curve here. It's going to be a problem due to those signature hardcore Nuzlocke level caps, and I'm not exactly sure how pure I could consider this if I had to use an additional Pokemon in the party for specifically EXP diversion and constantly switching in and out. So I'm going to try to keep away from doing so. But with Dratini in the party, let's take a look at these stats. So a base 300 isn't terrible for a starter, as it's only 18 lower than Bulbasaur's, 9 less than Charmander, and 14 less than Squirtle. Not to mention, we're starting with a base 64 attack stat, which should help immensely early game as we have access to Wrap from the starting gate, so it might not be as bad as it seems. However, while yes, starting with Wrap does make things pretty easy as I'm outspeeding the rival Squirtle and holding it down from attacking, it's probably going to be a lot more difficult with Brock, considering it's the only attack that can do damage to him, as my only two attacks that I get there by level up are Thunder Wave, which does nothing, and Leer, which thankfully does lower defense, so it should help with PowerPoint preservation and making sure I make it out without having to use Struggle. While I'm at it though, I may as well talk about the line's move access. Dratini gets Wrap, Leer, Thunder Wave, Agility, and Slam before evolving into Dragonair, then gets access to Dragon Rage and Hyper Beam before finally evolving into Dragonite, who has no level up moves. Well, at least no new ones. So basically, we're going to be relying on a ton of this line's ability to pick up a wide variety of TM moves. The first relevant one is going to be Water Gun from Mount Moon in order to take out rock types, later replaced by Bubble Beam from Misty, and finally by Surf from the Safari Zone. While there isn't a move deleter, Surf is such a good move regardless and a great way to neutralize fire types before they can burn us, as well as rock types and ground types that would start giving us problems once we hit Dragonite for the former. Though of course that's only limited to the rival battle right before the League and the League itself, mainly with Bruno's Onix, Lance's Aerodactyl, and the rival's Rhydon. We've also got access to Body Slam on the SSM before Surge, giving us a super powerful normal move with a 30% chance to paralyze and can massively benefit off of the Dratini line's massive attack stat by the end. We also have Thunderbolt from Surge, Ice Beam on the top of the Celadon department store, and Fire Blast from Blaine. There's a boatload of moves that we can take advantage of. Though for some stupid reason, just like Charizard in Red and Blue, Dragonite does not have the ability to learn Fly, so we have no way of absolutely capitalizing on our flying type moves with Stab or anything. Not even Wing Attack, though I wouldn't take that over any of the aforementioned moves considering it's only 35 power in Gen 1, but that's about it for moves. Anyway, getting back to Brock, we can increase our odds of victory by grabbing a bunch of stat experience off of level 2 Pidgeys on Route 1. Just for a brief explanation on stat experience, in Generations 1 and 2, effort values are given equal to the base stat of the defeated Pokémon. So in Pidgey's instance, we're getting 40 HP points, 45 attack, 40 defense, 35 special, and 56 speed. A Pokémon can have a maximum of 65,535 effort values in each stat, and by the Pokémon League, that will give our Dragonite around plus 40 stat points in every single stat it has. And considering all enemy trainers in Gen 1 have 0 IVs and 0 EVs, this should give us a great advantage while attempting to complete the game with a single Pokémon. This also pretty much starts us off with a good amount of extra stat points by level 14. Not very many, but still enough to where it's going to be a benefit for Brock, taking out the only required trainer in Viridian Forest and challenging Brock straight away. For future reference, this is how every single one of these runs is going to begin for optimization's sake, and I'm going to mention it in each one just in case people haven't seen the prior ones, so I'll try to be brief about it but still keep it in the videos for people. The only other thing I have to worry about here, though, is power points, so I start off against Brock using a bunch of Leers against his lead Geodude, using 8 of them in a row as Geodude kept going for Defense Curl for around 5 turns, finally letting me get the defense lowered enough as Geodude continues to go for Tackle, only managing to get it off 3 times before I go for Wrap, not missing once and managing to KO Geodude without any more damage done to Dratini, leading to Onix. Now, I'm fully expecting Bide here, so I immediately swapped to Leer, but instead saw Tackle for only 5 damage. Perfectly fine by me, surely Brock will choose Bide this turn, but oh no, he went for Screech. Well, I'm kinda trusting my gut and still going for Leer here, and sure enough, he does lock into Bide, letting me finish up the remaining defense drops and giving me enough necessary to make Wrap last through the remainder of the fight, KOing and letting me walk with the Boulder Badge. Before I continue though, I just want to take a minute to talk about today's sponsor, Manta Sleep. Now, hold on, I actually asked for this one. I recently caught one of their ads in fellow creator Gilly the Kid's video on Bubsy games, and I thought, oh, this looks really nice. And thankfully, we were able to reach out and they sent me their Sound Sleep Mask. It has 2 layers, one for a normal lightweight sleep mask with Velcro eye covering so you can adjust them depending on your eye placement on your face, so that you don't have anything touching your eyes while you attempt to sleep. I've used cheap masks in the past that do touch my eyes, and they prevented me from being able to sleep properly. And sometimes I just need to take a nap during the day because I'm pretty much burnt out from being able to do these videos or something at that moment, and I need some sort of respite. Or I'm going to sleep at like 3 a.m. and need to get up at 11 a.m., yet the sun comes up halfway through my sleep, and I'm unable to sleep through the rest of the way due to it being too bright. The second layer also is able to be attached via Velcro, so you're able to adjust it how you want, and it has razor-thin Bluetooth earbuds that allow for you to listen to whatever you want while you're falling asleep, whether it be ambient sounds, or some bumbler like MBT sacking Doug Zeef with dinosaur combos.
He's a nice
different
mate,
ones.
man.
They really
He's a nice normal summon too.
Okay, f you. I knew that you.
I'm gonna be real with you. It's just over.
I've been using it every night since I've got it, and you can get your own Manta Sleep Mask by using my link in the description below and using code Meatball at checkout for 10% off your order. But with that, back to Pokemon Red and Blue using only Dragon types. Now the problem becomes, do I have enough EXP to get through badges 2 and 3? Well, thanks to this handy-dandy graph, I can see what amount of EXP each Pokemon needs per level to reach level 100, and Dratini is thankfully part of the slow EXP group. That means that I have more EXP leniency at lower levels since it takes more to level it up. And as that takes more EXP, I'm pretty much in a good spot, but I am still in a rough spot because I'm at level 17 before arriving at Cerulean. This leaves me 4 levels for Misty and 7 for Lieutenant Surge, all with the gauntlet of routes 24 and 25 still ahead of me. Just for the extra EXP before fighting the rival though, I figured I'd take on the required trainer inside of Misty's gym with a level 19 Goldeen. Pretty easy at this point, but I'm still somewhat underleveled for only having 1 Pokemon against the rival's whopping 4 for this point in the game. Alas, Wrap is a good move, which lets me lock in Pidgeotto and KO it, finishing it off with a Water Gun despite there being 3 quick attacks that clear through for over 2/3 of Dratini's HP. Well, that's not good. Hopefully I can outspeed the rest of his Pokemon and not miss. Thankfully, Abra's a free KO as it doesn't have anything aside from teleport. Rattata doesn't outspeed, so there's no damage done to Dratini before Wrap and Water Gun put it down, leaving just Squirtle. Sure enough, we outspeed, Wrap doesn't miss, and Squirtle eventually goes down and brings Dratini to level 18. That's still 3 levels of wiggle room for Misty, so I may as well try to take down the gauntlet of routes 24 and 25 as far as I can go to get to the level cap and have as much of an advantage as I can against Misty, and hopefully get whatever items I need off of the SSN with the excess EXP allowed. Dratini unfortunately hits level 21 with 2 required trainers still standing in my way though, so I'm unable to get the SS ticket before having to go back and fight Misty, lock in her Staryu and Starmie with Wrap, and get the win with barely any damage, only taking 2 tackles from Starmie before nailing a Thunder Wave to ensure that I always outspeed, and KO with Wrap eventually. Not bad, plus I get the TM for Bubble Beam, which will help until I get Surf to give to Dragonair later on. As for getting the SS ticket, I'm only at level 22 by this point, so that's all well and good, but the required Rocket Grunt in Cerulean does bring me to level 23, so we're inching a little closer than I'd like, though the 2 required trainers on Route 6 don't cause Dratini to go to level 24. However, I'm still not sure if I can take out the optional trainer on the SSN that blocks the TM for Body Slam, so I choose not to risk it before the rival by just taking him on. He leads Pidgeotto, I outspeed and go for Wrap, only taking a single quick attack before KOing with Bubble Beam, then doing the same to Raticate while only taking a single Hyper Fang. Thankfully, that left me with just enough HP to take 2 confusions from Kadabra, leaving Dratini on only 3 HP before KOing with Wrap, leaving just Wartortle. Well, I guess it's luck of the draw at this point, either Wrap keeps Wartortle dead to rights, or I fall and have to try again. And the conclusion? I'm alive, and Wartortle's dead. Thank God I did not want to have to replay this game up to the point again. But before I leave, I checked the amount of EXP I had left on Dratini before going over the level cap, and sure enough, I've got plenty enough to beat the trainer with a Nidoran, blocking Body Slam, giving me a much more powerful move in preparation for Lieutenant Surge. The fight ended up going really well as well, thankfully with 2 Body Slams connecting on Voltorb following an X-Speed and a Tackle for 4 damage, whereas Pikachu went down after a barrage of Body Slam and Bubble Beam, and that's able to take that out, leaving just the fully evolved Electric type. I take a myriad of ineffective Thundershocks and Thunderbolts that did less than half damage overall here, netting me a third of 8 badges after I take it out. Now there's not much very important in between badges 3 and 4, just Route 9, 10, Rock Tunnel, Lavender Town, and Route 8, all of which have enough trainers for me to still be close to the level cap, but not quite go over 29. Not to mention, before fighting Erica, I'm able to access the Ice Beam TM on the top of the Celadon department store, so this will give me more than enough to take her down, assuming I don't get trapped up in Victory Bell's Wrap for too long. Of course, Erica leads with said Victory Bell, so I immediately go for Ice Beam, outspeeding and doing less than half while getting hit with Poison Powder. Well, now I've got a clock on me, so I'm just rushing to do damage, thankfully hitting a crit Ice Beam on Victory Bell to KO and lead to Tangela. It gets nailed by an Ice Beam for over half, all while missing Bind to let Dratini pick up the KO with the second, leaving just Vileplume. While it does take 3 Ice Beams to put her down through a Mega Drain and a Petal Dance, Dratini still had about a third of its HP left after the final attack connected, KOing and giving me the Rainbow Badge, as well as the long-awaited evolution into Dragonair. I'll have this all the way up into the Elite Four section, which sort of sucks when it has around the same base stats of a mid-evolution starter, but considering the next few gyms can't really hit Dragon types very well, I should still be in a good position. Base 84 attack and base 70 speed isn't the worst for Kanto, especially when I have access to all these TM moves now. Not to mention Dragonair's special stat is 70 really isn't that bad for taking advantage of most of those moves as well. Here's hoping I can make it to Dragonite without too much of a problem. I also completely blanked on giving Dragonair Thunderbolt before the fight with Erica. Not that I needed it, but I at least remembered before challenging my rival again in Pokemon Tower. Bolt Beam combos are always strong, especially on Pokemon with high special, and this is no exception. They're more than enough to tear through, of course, Giovanni, which I had to go back to the Rocket hideout to take out before going to the rival, using super effective Bubble Beam to take out his lead Onix and Rhyhorn, leaving just Kangaskhan to be defeated by 2 shots of Thunderbolt and a Body Slam, winning me the match and letting me do the same easy win against my rival in Pokemon Tower, burning through Pidgeotto with Thunderbolt, Growlithe with Bubble Beam, Execute with Ice Beam, Kadabra with Body Slam, and Thunderbolt on Wartortle to get the one-shot on each. It doesn't even take that long for me to do the same to him in Silphco by 2-shotting Pidgeot with Thunderbolt, 2-shotting Growlithe with Bubble Beam, then 1-shotting Execute with Ice Beam, Alakazam with a critical Body Slam, not sure if I needed it, probably not considering Alakazam is frail as hell, and Blastoise with 2 Thunderbolts following a bite, doing less than half damage overall, with all 5 team members to win me the fight. Giovanni, of course, again is no problem, as Nidorino goes down to a Bubble Beam and Thunderbolt following Fury Attack, Kangaskhan falls to a critical Thunderbolt, Rhyhorn to a Bubble Beam, and finally Nidoqueen to 2 Ice Beams following a useless Guard Spec. perfect. Now that the gyms are open, it's time for Koga. Coughing's first, going down to 2 Ice Beams following a Smog that ends up poisoning Dragonair, so I guess we're on a clock just like the last gym. Out comes Muck's second, which thankfully gets frozen by an Ice Beam, staying that way and being taken out by a critical Thunderbolt next turn. Third out is the second Coughing, going down to a critical Thunderbolt, then Wheezing is out last, being hit by a Thunderbolt for a little over a third as an X attack is used. However, even with the poison on me, Wheezing's unable to do enough to Dragonair to take it out as a follow-up Ice Beam freezes Wheezing, putting it in place for the KO with the second to win me the fight at over 100 HP when it's said and done. Not to mention, while I'm here, I can finally upgrade Bubble Beam to Surf. Quite a handy one, if I do say so myself. Next up, Sabrina, who leads Kadabra as I, of course, go with the only Pokemon I have, Dragonair. And quite frankly, there's nothing that she can really do here. Body Slam one-shots Kadabra, then two-shots Mr. Mime after setting up Light Screen, which in Gen 1 only have special damage against the user rather than the whole team. Then Venomoth comes out third, takes an Ice Beam for over a third, going down to 2 more following a whiffed Poison Powder, leaving just Alakazam. Now this almost goes belly up, as a Body Slam does over half, and Psybeam ends up both critting and getting the Confusion on Dragonair, but thankfully we don't hit ourselves in Confusion, letting one more Body Slam pick up the victory and the 6th of 8 badges. Oh, we're so close, I can taste it. I can just feel the power of Dragonite. I'm kind of surprised that Dragonair's doing as well as it is, but considering the moveset, I suppose I can't complain. Next up is Blaine, which unsurprisingly goes down to Surf entirely, taking out Growlithe, Ponyta, Rapidash in 2, following a useless Growl of all things. Why is that on a 7th gym leader's second best Pokemon? In fact, I'd put that above Blaine's baffling usage of Super Potions, but he doesn't get the opportunity to use one as a critical Surf KOs Arcanine with one shot to win me the fight. And if you're not shocked by that outcome, then you won't be by Giovanni's final battle, as Surf does just as good of a job, taking out Rhyhorn, Dugtrio, Nidoqueen in 2 shots following a useless Guard Spec, Nidoking, and finally Rhydon to win the damageless clean sweep. Now finally, Dragonite is in my possession as the level cap is high enough, and over level to hell and back for the 6th rival fight, considering the fact that there's no required trainers in Victory Road. Evolving and replacing Body Slam with Hyper Beam, as Gen 1 Hyper Beam is insane and doesn't require a recharge turn if you KO with it, so why not abuse that to my advantage? With that said, let's assess the base stats one more time before heading into the final stretch. I mean, sure, we didn't gain that much speed, but base 80 is fine, and considering we have maxed out stat experience and have had it for a pretty long while now, it's going to be far and away outspeeding just about anything thrown at me. Likely even Lance's Aerodactyl, considering again, all trainer Pokemon that you face off against in Red and Blue don't have any stat experience, and they're all set to 0 IVs by default, or DVs as they are called in this game. Base 134 attack is absolutely wild and is basically lights out for anything with Hyper Beam, and the base 100 special should make sure that Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, and Surf take out anything that are weak to them and are frail in the special department. Anyway, as per most rival fights, this is a joke as Pidgeot goes down to Thunderbolt, Rhyhorn to Surf, Growlithe to Surf, Execute to Ice Beam, Alakazam to Hyper Beam, and finally Blastoise to a critical Thunderbolt to sweep his team with no damage, just like Giovanni. And with one Victory Road later and a quick Goon Maxing session to level 62, borderline 63 for Lance's cap, we're ready for the league. Lorelei starts with Dugong, and it goes to Thunderbolt after a Super Potion, so 2 of them. Cloyster dies to Thunderbolt, Slowbro goes down to 1, Jinx is different but goes down to Hyper Beam, and finally Lapras survives a Thunderbolt, but is hilariously paralyzed for the turn, so who cares, down it goes to Thunderbolt again. That's 1 down, with Bruno up second, and unsurprisingly, he goes down just as fast. Onix to Surf following a 256 glitch. First for the run, but unsurprising that it happened at some point, leading to a Rock Throw. Second one manages to take it down as Hitmonchan enters second and goes down to Thunderbolt, as does Hitmonlee, leading to Onix 2, who goes down to Surf. Last up is Hitmonchan, and he goes down to 2 Thunderbolts following using Leer. Again, why do these endgame trainers have such terrible stat debuffing moves? I understand that they're supposed to be their level up learn sets, but are you really serious? Like, it's not that hard, I'm sure, to program the Pokemon to have individual moves rather than level up learn sets. God, Game Freak is really bad at what they do. Anyway, Agatha's probably the biggest problem as Dragonite doesn't learn Psychic, but Gengar number 1 does take half damage from Ice Beam, only retaliating with a Nightshade before going down to a second critical, leading to Golbat, who falls to 1 Ice Beam. Third out is Haunter, and I'm a dumbass who goes for Hyper Beam, taking a Nightshade for around a quarter as Ice Beam does over half next turn, then she swaps into Arbok, taking an Ice Beam for around 3/4 before missing Glare and going down to a second, letting her Haunter come back in and die to Ice Beam. Last out is Gengar number 2 hitting Toxic after an Ice Beam does half, but 2 Surfs following it does make sure to take it down, while she decides to use Dream Eater for some reason, so I win the fight. Yeah, Dream Eater doesn't work on poison there, dipshit. 2 more fights to go, as Lance is an easy sweep with Thunderbolt on Gyarados for the one-shot, then Ice Beam on Dragonair, Dragonair number 2, Thunderbolt on Aerodactyl, and finally Ice Beam on the Mirror Match Dragonite wins me the fight damageless. Now then, the rival is actually pretty simple with this moveset as well, as Thunderbolt one-shots Pidgeot, Hyper Beam takes out Alakazam with a crit to rub in salt in the wound, Rhydon falls to Surf, Arcanine also goes down to a crit Surf. Now Executor dodges an Ice Beam and is somehow the second 1 in 256 glitch I've fallen prey to during this Elite Four, but it's fine as he just connects with a Stomp and Barrage for minimal damage as 2 Ice Beams KO, leaving Blastoise to fall to Thunderbolt. And with that, that's the Dragon type with only a single Dratini line, Nuzlocking the whole game with a pseudo-legendary. I mean, not gonna lie, I'm surprised that a single Pokemon can hardcore Nuzlocke the entirety of Red and Blue, even if it was a pseudo-legendary. I expected this to take multiple attempts, but I'm happy with how this turned out. I'm not sure how well Dragons will do in future games when they're still limited, but we don't have access to Gen 1 wrap mechanics in the beginning, but we'll have to see in the future. But with that, that's another rundown on the spreadsheet. There's still a whopping 106 other runs on this spreadsheet that have yet to be completed, but I'm ready to chip away at them one after another. I'll try to keep a variety because there's a ton of Kanto runs to be done both in Gen 1 with Red, Blue, Yellow and in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, so we'll probably have to double up on the same region to get this done, but I want to keep at least some variety, but I'll leave that to you to request in the comments below for what you want to see done next. With that, I hope to see you in my Shiny Franchise Nuzlocke streams. Otherwise, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.